Outer Banks stickers and why you shouldn't have them.
We're gonna
I had to get it because of not picking my nose on camera.
Oh, this is great. You know we're going to be live pretty soon.
You've got an ADD guy on camera. What do you expect?
I think we might be live on YouTube right now. I don't know if that's the case. It looks like it might be trying to get live to Twitch at the moment. Everybody, down there in that corner, I don't even know how to point on this thing. Yeah, down there, that is Ricky. Got Adam. What's up, everybody?
Hi.
I don't know how to point.
I always thought that's most impressive. The YouTube videos and the guys like, click right here to see this video, subscribe here, and like. I'm like, how do you get that good?
How much practice do you have to do?
Yeah, exactly where on the camera that's going to be.
We will get there. So thanks everybody for tuning in and watching this. Okay, Ricky is echoey. Let's try to figure that out. Ricky's green screen is top notch. Oh, hang on. Yep, I bet I know why. Hang on. All right, I think we may have fixed Ricky. Ricky talks so much.
By we mean you fixed it because I did nothing.
It's a team engagement with the chat and you. I think hopefully we've got that engaged. Adam, on you, how you doing tonight?
Yeah, I'm pretty good, man. Actually, well, it's just gone past midday here, and I just started at my other computer because
you're totally pro.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you expect nothing less from me?
Oh, look, we're gonna get this. We're doing this is like another soft lunch, a dry run, as it were, here. And so we are going to talk 40K, but this is also so we can get our pipes clean. We're actually going to record a podcast after this, and this show is going to be the podcast coming out now is going to be great. I've actually got a spot to insert from Matthias Weeks.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
From Adepticon.
I'm trying really hard to do this professionally, and then everything just seems to be like, no, Adam, you're going to have to do this very messily.
You got a mute button.
Oh, you can just edit it. Edit it, Paul. Just edit it, mate. It's fine.
This is the way the show. This is the way the show goes. This is actually how. I've actually put together a couple of outtakes from last year and a little bit in this year. I may end up releasing those. We'll see if it goes. But what I was saying is, I got Matthias Weeks from Adepticon to come on and give some thoughts on what happened with the convention, what they were dealing with during the time of before they had to announce the cancellation, and then how they're going to proceed to next year. So I think people will enjoy that chat.
Absolutely, and with how up in the air everything is, getting contact and talking to these big TOs and finding out what their plans for the future are is what we all need at the moment. There's actually a lot of hope giving we need to provide to the world.
Yeah,
a lot of people, I don't know about over there, but a lot of people here are being like, I don't know how keen, like how much, what the scene's going to come back as. Is the scene going to come back dead? Is it going to come back hollow? Is it going to come back lifeless? Or is it going to come back better than it was? No one knows.
Well, I think what we've established is, we are going to have to change what we do, but it's only going to be temporary. That's the way people work. It's like we'll eventually come back to the way things were, but it'll be,
really
it will be slightly different.
100% it's going to be different.
But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I really want to play 40K. I really want to get my competitive streak back going.
Dude,
I ain't shaking anybody's hand at the table, though.
Yeah,
I'm hungry. I'm very. Bruce Gordon, are we addressing the chat? That's why I got my other screen up, so I could get the chat up and look at that.
Hang on, let me put the chat up on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like chat, people talking and stuff. It's crazy. Bruce Gordon, Adam, I'm from New Zealand. Do you ever cross the ditch to play? I was planning to cross the ditch to play in 2 tournaments this year. Both of those are in the bin, unfortunately.
Is that what you call the trip from the mainland to New Zealand?
Yeah. The mainland to New Zealand. Love it. New Zealanders will love that too. But there's 2 different countries.
I'm ignorant.
It's fantastic.
New Zealand's the better one, right?
It's where the Hobbit is.
They live in the prettier one.
Yeah.
We live in the one where there's more stuff to do. If that makes sense.
I don't know, man.
By that you mean more ways to die. right? Like,
that too. That too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Question, because you're an expert, because you live there. Do kangaroos have 3 legs or 5?
5. Nah,
Is
they
it
got
5?
2. 2
Well,
legs, 2
they
arms, and a tail.
supposedly don't they count the tail now? I was
As a leg.
I was listening. Yeah, I was listening to a podcast. They were talking about how like the tail can be classified as a leg. So then there was a big
forward.
yeah. So there was a discussion because they bounce with it, right? Like they kind of use that as like their
because they can't move their so the two kicking legs, the big legs, they can't move independently. So they use the tail to when they're not hopping. They use the tail to walk. The tail walks them forwards.
See, Paul, look at that.
I
Force
think,
the Narrative Kangaroo podcast.
Quality content. Give the people what they want.
For the folks that are helping us with the audio, I think Adam, what we're seeing right now is a lag in the internet, and maybe not the system, but whatever. Let's see how it goes. So I had the privilege of writing a Space Wolf article that made its way onto the Warhammer community site.
I saw. Well done, man. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you very much. But some of the comments were like, the Space Wolves aren't what so and so they think they should be right now. They said that the Space Wolves are a close combat thing, and then the rules kind of force them into being a gunline army. And I actually advocated, I think the gunline is more reliable than maybe trying to pursue a close combat endeavor. And then somebody came in with the fact, like, no, man, what everybody's missing is that the Space Wolves are actually a mid-range field holder. They're supposed to kind of get up there in the middle of the table and then be able to dominate all around them. And I think that everybody's right. I mean, that's kind of one of the beautiful things about talking about tactics and talking about a Marine army that does have the flexibility, and especially something like the Space Wolves, that have all the tools to be either or. I made my comment based on, I think, what's going to win you more games more consistently, but that doesn't mean you're not going to win games with either other approach either.
Agreed. And Space Wolves sit in a weird niche that unfortunately doesn't, I don't want to say it doesn't do anything well, but there's a very high dependence on the ability of the player. They're a Space Marine. Like, when you think about Iron Hands, Imperial Fist is the best one. Imperial Fist is a super ultra polarized chapter, yeah? They got 2 things they do. They're prolific with bolter weapons, and they kill vehicles. That's it. Apart from that, they do nothing else special. There's 0% specialness there. That's it. Space Wolves are the all-rounder. Where, on the other side of the spectrum, you got Imperial Fist and you got Blood Angels on the other side, and Paul's already like, oh, Blood Angels, yay!
He opened the door.
Yeah. Blood Angels.
He'll get started.
So Blood Angels are as good as you can get combat-wise. You cannot make a Space Marine better combat-wise than a Blood Angel can be. There's nothing better than you can make a Smash Captain with the amount of buffs, sucky powers, stratagems. Blood Angel is the epitome. That's it. Space Wolves combat-wise can hit as hard as a Blood Angel, but are nowhere near as flexible in getting there. They don't have the delivery system. You can't make them move twice. You can't wings them. You can't move them twice. You can't 3d6 charge them from reserve. So they're in from the efficiencies there, the efficacy, the damage output's there, but their ability to make it happen is vastly reduced. And same as the bottom, from the range aspect but they sit in this nice niche in the middle where they can do pretty much everything you need to do to win a game, but it's a lot harder than either of the extremes, if that makes sense.
You mean as if you're trying to shoehorn something into that? Like we've had many discussions about like the Wolfen or the Thunderwolves and how they struggle. You during the first opening rounds of the rounds that I think are the most critical, you're almost exposed to where you have to your opponent almost has to cooperate with you to get you into the right position to be crippling, to crush them. Is that what you think as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think. So I think things like impulses are exceptionally good for what they can offer to Space Wolves. But at the same time, like, I actually really like Blood Claws. In fact, somebody put it to me that when people look at intercessors in Impulsar, you could also do the same thing with Blood Claws in a Termite. Now, someone put it to me that
I forget
Blood
about
Claws
the Termite sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. A Termite gets kind of the short end of the stick.
Well,
but
they
that is
can't carry
a very real option.
Primaris, so that's why nobody talks about them right now, because you can't put Primaris in them, so they kind of fall under your radar. So Impulsors kind of takes the place here now.
But the Space Wolves, I mean, getting all those attacks from the Blood Claws and stratagems that get you go on the Blood Claws and that kind of stuff, maybe that is an option.
And Blood Claws are considerably cheaper than, I think they're 5 points cheaper per model. Blood Claws are 12 points, yeah. I think they're 12 points. They're not 13. They're one less than a regular.
I'm checking them, but don't they make up for whatever it is they're bad at in number of attacks? I think they have a
They've got weapon. They got ballistic skill 4+, but I know they got weapon skill 3+. But they got extra attacks and a bunch of other crazy jank.
And then being able to hang out near Ragnar, which makes everybody better.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. You're right.
Oh, he's such a beast. But yeah, the Impulsors are, again, big advocates of the Impulsors. I mean, even mentioned that in the article. I think that they're just on the back of them and the amount of shots they can put out, the fact they benefit from doctrines. You could end up winning games, or at least enduring in those couple of critical turns of the game, as well as anything, and not have to skew yourself one way or the other. I mean, if you go in Primaris. So Dark Angels, we got 2 Dark Angel players on the show right now.
Finally, we can talk about something important.
Sorry,
It's tough to sit through Space Wolf talk, guys.
I want to say one more thing closing on the Space Wolves, yeah? I think there's some reluctance for Space Wolf players more than others to go to Primaris because they have bespoke, gorgeous, specific Space Wolf miniatures.
I would do everything. I would do everything I can to try to get an Intercessor on top of a Thunderwolf just so I can make it work. Yeah.
Exactly, or to get all the Blood Claw bits onto Intercessors. Yeah. But because they have they have a whole bespoke range, and if you look at it, they're in similar to Blood Angels. Yeah, Blood Angels don't have a bespoke range. They've got bespoke units like Death Company, Sangard, but you have a whole. You can make just a pure bespoke Space Wolf army. Everything, fast attack, Fenrir and rules, elites, Thunderwolf Cav, troop choices, HQs. Everything can be bespoke Space Wolf. Yeah. That's the same as Grey Knights. Grey Knights have a complete bespoke range, except for Baby Land Raiders and Storm Ravens. Apart from that, you can bespoke every other model. But Space Wolves got Primaris and Grey Knights didn't. Now that's an interesting point of difference being there, because my initial thoughts for why Grey Knights didn't get Primaris is because they had a bespoke range. And to bespoke up Intercessors to make them look like they would fit in a Grey Knights army would be making whole new molds. You'd have to make a whole new range of miniatures. But yet, it went against that because Space Wolves got them. And so they got an upgrade kit though, didn't they? They got a Space Wolf upgrade kit for Primaris.
Yeah.
Probably just some angry dude with a beard, right? Just like 10 different versions of an angry guy with a beard. Yeah.
It's the same guy.
That's pretty much. I think it's a mohawk, a sword, and I actually used the sword on one of my. The sword looks good. I just chopped out the little. It's
not even an axe.
Piece. Yeah. That's the lame part. They got a power sword.
Disappointing. They got a power sword.
Oh well. Yeah.
Rip.
We did. We actually did a test though. We were talking to my buddy about his Grey Knights and how he should just redo all of his Grey Knights as Primaris, and it wouldn't be cheap, but Intercessor bodies, you could put all the Grey Knight bits on there, and it looks pretty good. So if you were hardcore and didn't mind basically redoing your whole army, you could have a really good looking Grey Knight army using Grey Knight arms, helmets, and backpacks if you need that, especially for the teleporting ones. But you could do it.
Interceptors.
Yeah, you could do it. I just I'm not paying for it.
You could at this point you could just make up an I word, interveners.
There you go.
yeah.
I would imagine.
Everyone will know what you mean. It's that it's that new one. The in interrupters. And it was interrupters.
I knew
that's a band.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
They're psychic null units. Interrupters.
They
got like Shadow in the Warp.
Do you ever do that? Like you walk up to the table and somebody asks you what you're playing, and you go, yeah, I got the things, and like you completely blank on your own army. Because everything sounds the same now. Yeah, everything sounds the same. It drives me. I just did that.
I'm trying to keep my eye on the chat too. Thanks for everybody.
That's what I saw. Well done, Rancid.
Rancid Polecat. Good name as well.
Well, I was going to mention, though, you're talking about Space Wolf bits and making bespoke units, and the Grey Knights, too. Those kits, those dual kits that they came out with, the Grey Knight troop choices that basically make every unit in the army, they are just flush with bits to be able to spread out from things. And so you if you are wanting to do it, you can get one kit. That one kit that's still pretty well priced, I think, like $35 range, like the Sanguinary Guard, that comes with all these accessories to kind of spread around your different units if you wanted to.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Grey Knights, if you wanted to do Primaris Grey Knights, really the main thing to pull that off is the Storm Bolter on the wrist and your force weapon, right? I mean, if you have those, you can almost forgive the helmets, but the helmets transfer over too. So you do arm, shoulder pads, and helmet, and you've got a Primaris Grey Knight army. And the great thing is, but it's the bad thing, is that Grey Knights do not have Primaris at all because they need them. Yeah. That would be super cool. But the good thing is...
They just need another wound.
Because, yeah, just give them another wound, and we'll call it even. But the good thing is, since no models in their army are Primaris, it's not that big of a deal if you put Primaris models in there, because you could walk up to a table and just say, hey, this, I've got them in Primaris bodies.
If they were all that way, or all the units, or if you're whatever, the teleporter guys.
Yeah, because if you go to a tournament,
the interveners.
Yeah, if you go to a tournament. If you go to a tournament, you could put somebody in a weird position where they're thinking that, I thought that was a Primaris unit, I shot them with damage 2 weapons, blah, blah, blah. But it's Grey Knights where they don't have any, so you shouldn't expect the confusion at all. And
I mean, look, people should model how they want, for sure, I think, but I always like to, if there is a model, then you're kind of crossing into, who knows, man, I don't even know. I'm the same, I use, when Fleshhounds, were in a weird spot before you could get them is plastic. I used the plastic, the dire wolves from Fantasy Battle. But is that a proxy or is that a counts as? It's like they get in this kind of slippery slope. That's as someone who likes to look across and know exactly what I'm facing. How do you do it?
Well, it doesn't. It never really bothered me as much because I forget what every unit does anyway. So, like, I'll be 3/4 of the way in the game. I'll be like, "What does that do?" So I can't fault it anyway. You put whatever you want on the table. I'm going to ask you 5 times what it is anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, fair enough. And we mentioned that would it make sense, or in the chat, Derek, would it make sense for Grey Knights to have Primaris? Did we think it made sense for Marines to have Primaris in the first place? I mean, whatever. We come up with anything.
I'm with you, Paul. I think we're at the point now where G-Dubs is just going to do whatever G-Dub does, and if they can make anything work or justify it. So I don't think they particularly do make sense, but I think in this day and age, it's almost irrelevant. If they want it to work, they'll make it work.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, talented writers, man.
Yeah, and I think also, like, at some point, we all have that suspension of disbelief. We all, we do it with comic books all the time. How like every 5 weeks they retcon half of everything we read in comic books, and people are okay with that. Honestly, like, at the end of the day, if they do something and we get like better Grey Knight models, then I'm down.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah, comics are a good example too. I mean, we talk, I was reading, I just picked up, I didn't just pick it up. I just started reading again the compilation trade paperback of The Fall of the Mutants. And they're talking about people that were in like Vietnam, and one of the characters was in Vietnam and stuff, but yet the characters are still the same age today, and they're, so we accept a lot of things in our stories because it makes sense or makes for a cool story. I'm down for progress.
Yeah,
me too. I like G-Dub pushing it along. I thought they were going to push it along more. I think I said this in the last podcast, but I really hoped G-Dub pushed the envelope a little bit more with the fluff, because they did so much at the end of 7th edition to like really push the story along, and now it's just straight back into another brick wall.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Psychic Awakening is doing, is giving her some juice, as well as
but still there's like it's like everything ends in like a stalemate or a no change to the status quo. From like the 2 or 3 that I've read, it could be other ones. Can't speak definitively.
It's the exact same reason that when I was a kid, I loved reading Star Wars novels and hated reading Star Trek novels. And don't get me wrong, I love both equally. But Star Trek was always beholden to the fact. No,
finish more.
I like Star Trek more. Fine, there, I said it. But Star Trek always had to end. If it's about the crew of the Enterprise, they always had to end right back where they began because the show was canon, right? And the show was the most important part. And the Star Wars novels could do whatever they wanted, really, as long as it all worked together and made a cohesive, realistic universe, right? But stuff progressed and stuff happened. And so I never really liked Star Trek novels because you knew, well, there's no risk. These characters aren't dying. These characters are going to end up right back where they are. You're going to go on this. You're going to go on this journey, and they're going right back to the status quo without even having grown in any way. And I think 40K is kind of. I feel like GW is kind of in that same world where they're real cautious about what they make happen, because at the end of the day, their stuff still has to come back to kind of where
it's
their
perpetual war. Is. I mean, it is. Yeah. I mean, and also it's we kind of know it's a space, not really a space opera, but it's I guess it is, right? A space opera.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, I just think of it as space soap opera, like it's Days of Our Lives. Like, didn't you die last season? I came back.
Yeah.
I was actually.
I didn't die.
I was covering genres with my senior class, and all, like different genres of science fiction and everything. And I was trying to explain to them grimdark, and they just kind of glazed over. I was like, yeah, guys, it's all bad. It's just really bad. That just understand that grimdark is bad.
It's perspective, though, right? Different versions of perspective. But I think we can all identify with it. That's why we get people that are so devoted to certain factions. Like, there are people out there that are just, like, super devoted to Tau, and I can't get it.
No, that's the one I could never... I just couldn't get into if it was in... if the Tau showed up in Infinity or something like that, I would be, like, super into them. I know I would. But in 40K, they just feel too clean. Or something, it doesn't work for me as well. And I don't love them in 40K.
I love the super robot suits though. So I mean, that's, if anything, that's going to get me into it. But I mean, they're into the philosophy of Tau, which I just,
Oh, that's pure for me. Yeah. No.
Here we go. Well, look, the only good Tau are the Far Side Enclaves. They look the coolest. That's for sure.
What's the white armor? I can't remember which sept that is. But I like that white armor with those like maroon highlights. I don't even care enough about Tau to learn which one's which. I like that color scheme though.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You guys I can't believe I gave you a perfect tee up for Dark Angel talk, and you just waylaid me to talk about like Tau and that you and the heresy that you like Star Trek better than Star Wars.
It's not heresy. Star Trek is great. It used to be great.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say even. I mean, used to, whatever. I mean, people like. I understand people like the Picard stuff that just came out.
Yeah,
I watched 4 episodes, I think, and I haven't went any farther. And it's okay. It's okay.
There we go.
When honest to God, like when we're talking Star Trek, the original series holds up. For some reason, the original series is now more fun to watch now than it was, 20 years ago when I started watching it. But the Next Generation and the original series, when Gene Roddenberry is still alive, the reason I like those two is because it gave us a hopeful vision of the future. That is why I like Star Trek, is because it was something that it gave us something to aspire to. Instead of every science fiction now, everything now is dystopian. It's all shit. It's all going to crap. The world's ending. Blah 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 blah. It's like, can I just come home from work and relax and have something to feel good about?
But see, that's what's so cool about 40K is that it is in this eye of terror. Everything's on the brink of demonic incursion or whatever. But for some reason we love it. And then there was just a comment in the chat about how the Tau don't feel grim darky, and I think that's kind of our perception, right? Like, I think that maybe even why people like them is like this, and they can identify it like this is the thing of hope that I want to be in all this world of darkness or whatever.
I just looked at Gilliman and McCragg. That's as hopeful as I'm willing to get in 40K is McCragg. It's like they have their stuff together.
That's part of the reason I like St. Gwinius so much. It's like the Blood Angels are again, you didn't have to give me too much of a window to jump in with the Blood Angels, but it is that redemption story. Like if they're going to bring about the actual good empire, or I guess the good humanity. Like there's even the legend of a golden warrior defending the emperor and being the last hope for humanity, and that is Dante. Whether you think so or not, that is what Dante is going to do.
He's completely surrounded by custodians who wear gold armor. But yeah, you read into it however you want. Yeah, your interpretation, whatever.
Ricky, you hush.
Why did I get kicked off the live chat? That was weird.
That was so weird. He was there, and then we went to. Hang on a second.
He went to all this trouble to make sure I was online at 10 o'clock, and then just went off. I mean, I do live in the boonies. I was just chalking up to crap internet, so it doesn't matter.
Hang on.
But I mean, I get you there with the Blood Angels, like the Dark Angels, with their whole, the Unforgiven and the fact that they're trying to hide the secret and repent, and that they've been trying to repent for this thing that they did for 10,000 years at this point. That is really cool. I love that they are, they have to keep this secret, because the Imperium is not going to forgive them, even though they have spent 10,000 years chasing these people down. They hide this secret because they know that they would be wiped out. So I love that whole idea. I love the robes, the whole concept of them. I wish they would get some of their iconography a little. I mean, it's kind of, they got the feathers and this kind of Native American thing going, and then the monk thing going, and I can't figure it out.
I'm going to put on my heresy filter for a second. Let me see if I get this right again. All right. See the chip. If this worked. Did we properly explain the heresy?
What happened?
You'll have to watch it on the live stream. You gotta go back and rewatch.
I hate you.
I literally just finished the line novel. Have you read it, Ricky?
No, I haven't.
Get on it, brother.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know that I've ever read a Dark Angels novel.
Well,
wow.
They've certainly.
To think if I read one Horus Heresy one. I read a Horus Heresy one, and as much as I love Dark Angels, I did not care for the novel. It was okay.
Well, sometimes when we go with a bunch of preconceived ideas about things into it, it can feel that way. And that was a criticism that I heard of the early Dark Angel novels. They was just it wasn't it felt more like a fantasy story than a 40K story. Now, I have to believe that's intentional, right? But as the heresy developed, I mean, I even got an appreciation for the Dark Angels. I mean, we've talked about this recently because they've been top of mind with Psychic Awakening and stuff. But I want to know more about the Dark Angels off the new stuff.
Yeah, what was the first Dark Angels book in Horus Heresy? It was not Legion.
Was it Angels of Caliban, or was it
Angels of Caliban?
No, it was definitely Angels of Caliban. Angels of Caliban was the 7th or 8th book or something that came out.
Yeah, it didn't blow me away.
No, I think that's a fair
neat
statement.
How but you got like a neat insight into the workings of Caliban and the fortress monasteries and stuff. I thought Descent of Angels, good job. Rational Ginger, also great name. But that was it. Yeah, that's the one I think I read where it was kind of setting the whole thing up, and it was at the end of the day I was like, that was okay.
That could be a fair criticism. I've certainly heard it from other places, but I think they were trying to establish where they were going with the series and stuff. But I mean, I definitely encourage you to. You already know you already have your impression of the backstory. Go to some of these more the newer ones. Man, the way they portray the lion is epic, man. So how was the standalone? I mean, no spoilers, Adam, but how was the the Primarch book essentially.
It was. I wish it was longer. I don't think it was long enough. It was actually really, really quite short. It was only a couple hundred pages.
A little novella, essentially.
Sorry.
A novella, like a small, like 200 pages. Okay, got it.
And it wasn't like I expected something of more of a, not quite an autobiography, but something more of the like adding depth and flavor to the backstory of the line. But really, it just told a single story around like the defending a planet, pretty much. Which very, very, very interesting story, and supremely fun read. It gave you a really good picture of how the Lion works, how his brain works, how he structured his legion, the reasons why his legion was structured so different to everybody else's, as in like all the different circles of influence, but none of them like no single hierarchy within. That's why he had all the wings, and all the wings kind of operated individually, and only he was like the sole. Only he had knowledge of how everything was working at the same time, and how to wield them all. He held all the. He held all the reins, and no one else had any other two reins, and it's really cool. Like it actually was a reason why they did really well in this conflict, because there was these other guys that were trying to undo them and try and like read minds and stuff to figure out how best to like undo the Dark Agents. And they're like, ha ha, mother effer, none of us know enough for you to actually destroy us, because no one actually knows enough of the secrets for you to actually properly hurt us. And I thought that was hilarious.
All right, quick hot take: Luther, friend or foe? Hero or villain?
Frenemy.
You can't split. You can't go middle of the road here. Hero or villain?
Yeah.
Villain.
Oh, villain. Yeah, if you have to go hero villain, he has to be a villain.
Yeah, there's no like, hot take on that. Cypher.
Reading.
There's where you can have a discussion. Also, I think.
I don't know if you can see him up there. You see the hide and seek champion. Right there.
Is that him right there? The tiny little. Look at him.
What a good dude.
Cypher. I was. What was it when was it in the 7th when they came out with the Advent calendar? They came out with Cypher rules. I think that was that 7th or 6th or whenever they did that. I can't remember what it was, and I was so disappointed when I got them because there wasn't enough there. And then 8th hit, and you can't have a Dark Angel, you can't have Cypher in a unit in the army of Dark Angels, and I want Cypher in my army because like I know the Dark Angels will kill him if they get him. Like they'll just do it. They're not going to be like.
But he can exist in that moment, right? Like he should be able to exist in that moment at some type of detriment. Like it'd be awesome if you could include him, and then you lost a victory point, or you couldn't control. You lost your obsec if he was near an objective. With the dark. Whatever. I mean, I'm not trying to write the rules, but he should be on the table.
I would be fine if there was some rule that when you walked up to the table, you took your Cypher model and gave it to your opponent, and your opponent put him in his army, and that became like an objective for you or something. To something like that would just be fun. I want more Cypher on the table.
Doing some serious. I do think he should be on that. I mean, the model is amazing. Even the old model was amazing.
The old model was great. The new one came out, and it was even better.
I've long wanted you to be able to play Cypher in a Dark Angels army, but if you take Cypher in your Dark Angels army, you can have no other named characters. Like, so you can't have Sammy, you can't have Azrael, but it's just a Dark Angels army. Like, it's just a Dark Angels army. And you can choose to play it as Dark Angels or play it as, like, Chaos Renegades, I guess.
I would be okay if... What I was looking forward to was them giving the Fallen good rules. Because... I would really like to have seen I would like to see Fallen armies on the table. One, because it'd be nice for half of my rules to actually work. Two, because the Fallen are a cool concept, and having Cypher, with these Fallen guys creates a really interesting, because everybody there's always a running gag. Well, Dark Angels, they're traitors. They're traitors. No, they're not. Get over it. Some of them were. Yes. Okay. That happened. I think the more interesting conversation is the less obvious one, which is what about some of these Fallen that are helping the Imperium? What, that's an interesting conversation.
Helping the Imperium, or is it just Cypher and like the?
Well, Cypher is like able to lead those guys and deal with them, and like I guess he can I don't know, like that's what I want to know is like, is he leading these or is he manipulating them? Which way does he go? And, is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? That's the whole mystery there of it, and I think that's one of the more exciting conversations to have about Dark Angels is where does Cypher lie? Where does he fall on it? And like if he is a good guy, why is he helping the Fallen? Why is he leading the Fallen at times? So I think that's a neat conversation to have there is, are some of the Fallen good and are some of them redeemable and that sort of thing. I think that would be an interesting story as well.
Yeah, I know it's a tough sell to get like a sub faction on the table, but the fact that they use the same models or would use the same models as what's already existing, whatever. Look, man, we heard that they're going to release the Harlequins and what was it, Death Watch in a White Dwarf. The rules their Psychic Awakening buff in a White Dwarf. Maybe that's something that you might see on down the road if we're crossing our fingers and wish listing.
If we're wish listing for Dark Angel stuff, I want a Deathwing mini codex in White Dwarf. Give me Deathwing. Deathwing that can survive a turn.
I'm pulling for you.
It's not happening.
I want to have the all Death Company army from 3rd edition come back. That would be
yeah, no kidding.
Awesome.
I want Deathwing Aggressors. Give me Deathwing Aggressors. That's what I really want.
Maybe one day. It's like we got the comment from Rational Gender that said Luther was a hero who lived long enough to become the villain. So maybe.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's pretty much spot on.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll go with you on that.
No,
I think he started with the right intent anyway. So yeah, I'll go with that.
All right, well, fair enough. Well, guys, we'll go ahead and wrap this part up, and we're going to go record the show. So if you like this kind of stuff, please, thumbs up, give us a comment, subscribe if you haven't already. Please do. This is a soft launch. I think we got a lot closer this time than we did the previous times. So thanks for working with us here during our growing pains and playing with this new technology. And, Ricky didn't even know he was going to be on camera until, I don't know, about 30 minutes ago.
I put a hat on. Just look, it's my Max Verstappen hat, guys. This is the only time I get to show it off because the dang season's canceled.
It was a rough patch before we hit the go live buttons.
You don't want to see my hair right now.
Oh, well, thank y'all. We'll be coming back. Well, actually, we won't be coming back. We'll be doing the podcast recording. The podcast recording will be going up on the channel in probably a day or two or so, and we'll try this again next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.